So those x-rays that Dr. Wil took of me really threw me for a loop. I just can't believe that that is the state my spine is in, and I know what it means for the future. And I need to figure out if I can really trust Dr. Wil to be the one who's going to fix it. Is chiropractic care going to fix it? So I needed some peace and quiet. I needed to really be able to meditate on this, and I heard that flotation therapy, isolation tank, might be a good way to sort out one's thoughts and feelings and emotions and get some good meditation in. So I went to the Floating Lotus. I had a good hour-long session. If you don't mind, stay tuned, and we'll take a look at what I figured out. Well, I wish I could say I went to another planet. The mind is a difficult thing to quiet. I feel relaxed, I feel calm, I can hear the difference in my voice. Let me get cleaned up and we'll check back in. So, I'm not unfamiliar with chiropractic care. I've had it before. I know the goal of it. I know the goals of chiropractic and osteopathic therapy, and I know that a chiropractor aims to be your primary care practitioner, really, because there's a lot of things that chiropractic adjustments can help with. You know, they can help with asthma, they can help with a sinus infection, they can help with tonsillitis, they can help when you're just overall coming down with something. You know, they can help with a lot of things that you wouldn't imagine might be related, because as Dr. Wil said, you know, it's your brain, and your brain is sending these signals down your spinal cord, and your spinal cord is inside of your vertebrae, and they're sending signals out through the holes of your vertebrae, and if they can't get out, your organs aren't going to run right. You know, your digestion isn't going to run right. Your heart's not going to work right. You know, nothing's going to work right. So it makes complete sense to me. But what is the story of my life that got me here to this point? And because I've looked at these things before, why aren't they better yet? And is chiropractic care going to really finally make them better? So here's a little bit about me. I grew up riding horses from the age of 6, so I fell a lot. Didn't seem like a big deal at the time, bouncing off the back of a horse and landing on my tailbone on the ground, you know? And at 16, I was in a car accident, and I fell from like the back seat of a Suburban to the far back end and landed kind of in a crunched position like that. Didn't break anything. That also happens to be right at the time where my parents were getting a divorce. So I say that because I know that these things are important. I know that when there's a physical trauma along with intense emotions, that they sometimes get intermingled and locked in the body. I don't know if Dr. Wil would say that, but I know that from my experience in body work, when you release the muscles or the bones, that can happen. At 20 years old in college, I got hit by a car as a pedestrian. I got hit by a Jeep Cherokee with his foot on the accelerator on my left hip, and flew through the air 20 feet and landed on my right hip, luckily on soggy ground. Nothing broke, but at that time I was going through this sense of abandonment as a boyfriend was really pulling away, and not in a very nice way. So there were all these feelings wrapped up in being hit by a car at a time when I had so much to look forward to. Also, there was this play I was going to be in, I was dancing, I was doing all these things, I was in college, and I felt like this guy who hit me just was taking all of that away. In both of those injuries, I got chiropractic care and I got massage care pretty much immediately after. So I thought, that's it. No problem, right? After that, 3 years of intense mountain climbing, hiking, carrying heavy backpacks. I'm somebody who likes to push myself physically and, push beyond really probably what my body tells me that I should do. I have a strong will, and I don't always like to listen to my body. And all through my 20s, all the way up into my 30s, before getting pregnant with my first child, I had a lot of low back spasms and pain down my right hip, what's called sciatic pain. It comes from the low back and it radiates down through the buttock, really, and maybe down the leg. And it can make you like where you can't even stand on your leg. I'm sure some of you have experienced that or know someone who've experienced it. And then at 34, I got pregnant with my first child. And unfortunately, despite all of my plans and all of my preparation, had to have an emergency C-section after 24 hours of really hard labor. And then after that C-section, I really didn't have the support that I needed in carrying things around and being physically active and getting therapy afterwards. And I didn't have the support that I needed to financially encourage me to go and get osteopathy or chiropractic to put everything back together again. Because when you give birth, all your ligaments relax, all your tendons relax, everything sort of lets go. It's actually an ideal time to knit everything back together properly. And if you don't, and you're carrying that baby on your hip and you're nursing and you're twisting, it can become much worse. At 36, I got pregnant again. Second child. Was hoping not to have a C-section, but again, emergency C-section. And emergencies aren't as good as planned C-sections. They are rushed and they don't always come out as good, and things don't always get stitched up as well. And there again, now I have 2 kids, don't have all the support that I need. At this point in my marriage, I'm going through what I later realized was a lot of verbal and emotional abuse. So I'm under a lot of stress. And all those emotions are getting knitted back into my body as it's getting twisted into this accommodation of how to raise my kids, how to take care of myself, how to just make everything happen on my own. So strangely, finding yoga again and Pilates really helped me to feel in my 40s in a much better place than I was in my 20s. I don't really have back spasms anymore. I don't have all those pains that I used to have. I thought I was doing really well. But I've got these migraines. You can't ignore that. They've been happening since 9 months after my second child was born. And that was like 2008. So why am I letting that go on? What does that mean? I've tried magnesium. I've tried CBD. I've tried binaural beats. These things all help, but they're not dealing with the source. What's the source? We saw it in the x-ray, right? It's right there. It tells you exactly what's going on. I don't know exactly what's happening with the nerves, but it's happening. So I've had acupuncture, I've had osteopathy, I've had massage, I've had chiropractic, I've faced these emotions, these injuries have already come up, but apparently they haven't resolved. I know that emotions are a huge part of it. They're lodged in there. I've had organ issues, I've had gallbladder issues, I've had liver issues, it flares up. And Ayurvedic medicine, I'm an Ayurvedic clinical consultant, so I know how these things are woven together. I know how everything plays a role. Ayurvedic medicine is so holistic. It even includes the bone setters, which were the original chiropractors. It probably came out of martial arts, like the Marma points, which were the original acupuncture points. They came out of people who practiced martial arts and needing to knit them back together properly. And so that practice of bone setting was sort of the precursor to chiropractic. There was an awareness of alignment of the spine, alignment of the nadis, all of these channels needed to be in proper alignment and everything flowing for the body to function optimally. So this is not outside of my understanding of Ayurveda. So these emotions stored in my organs, stored in my central nervous system, stored in my spine are a part of the story too. So if I'm going to commit to these 25 or more sessions with Dr. Wil, I'm going to commit finances, time, and my trust. It means that I'm committing to revisiting all of these emotional and physical traumas and addressing them again head on, and hopefully finally, and really resolving them. So in the flotation tank, in my meditative state, I'm coming up against these fears. Can I trust Dr. Wil? Is he the one? Is he reducing me to a formula and to a number of visits and a dollar amount? Or is he really seeing me and my individual story? Is he going to meet me where I am? Is he going to collaborate with me as a practitioner? Or is he going to try to just fix me? Am I just making excuses by saying, can Dr. Wil do this? Am I just saying, I don't know who I would be if I didn't have this migraine. I don't know who I would be if I didn't have this neck tension, if I didn't have this low back pain. You know, we identify with our illnesses, and sometimes we don't know what life would be like if we were totally free of them and what we would be expected to accomplish. So I've seen it in my clients, and now I'm seeing it in myself. You know, am I doubting that he can fix me? Or am I just afraid to be fixed? Am I just afraid to face it? And this concept of fixing, many practitioners think they can fix you. And many practitioners think that they are the healer. One thing I've definitely learned in all of my years, and especially very recently, is that no practitioner can fix you or heal you if you haven't given them consent and if you're not collaborating with the journey. A healer is no more than a guide or a facilitator. All they can do is show you the path, but you have to walk it. So Dr. Wil has shown me the problem. He's shown me the path that he can offer. If I walk it, I have to do the healing. And he said it. Healing happens in between the adjustments. How do I contribute to that healing? So I'm really asking Dr. Wil to collaborate with me, to meet me, to see me as an individual with a story in my spine, not just 33 vertebrae and a misalignment. It's going to be a very vulnerable journey. And it's a frustrating one because I feel like I've been here before. And it's frustrating to start over. But it's also exhilarating to think that maybe I'm on the right path this time. And maybe I've just been missing this piece of real physical alignment all along. It makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? We'll see. Stay tuned for the next video.